So again, thank you all for showing up today. We really appreciate it. There's people in the room who have been following what I've been asking them to do. They have been supporting the idea of shale energy philanthropy, and in particularly our supporters and people who are supporting the group, so we have sufficient resources to put on programs like this and hopefully move it forward. There are members and also our sponsors. In particularly, I would like to thank, well, first I'd like to remember for everybody in the room, Larry Haynes. I'm glad that Larry was supportive at the beginning. He was instrumental in getting this organization going. He's now deceased, and I wanted to make sure that we remember Larry because he was very helpful for this process. I also want to thank Sarah Holland. She is the person who does all the heavy lifting from my perspective, and is very helpful, so thank you, Sarah. Also, Mike Smiley. Mike is over in the corner here. Mike, could you stand up for a minute? So Mike, here's the key thing about Mike as a supporter, and also Decision Associates and Don Moore. Like any charitable organization, when times get tough, sometimes we go without. And frankly, we ran out of money, and Mike is our paid consultant. He's trying to work himself out of a job and get a more full-time person doing this. But when we ran out of money, they didn't go on strike. Instead, Mike and Don Moore from Decision Associates, not here today, they said, we're gonna keep on plowing forward and we're gonna make it a charitable gift. So they did that and very much appreciate their efforts. And also, everybody in the steering committee, there's a group of people that are dedicated, they show up and they help out with this process. Because we all know that we need to move this process forward. We've got a video that most of you may have seen. If not, we'll show you the link to it. The video talks about the various issues on the boom and bust cycle. And example is Pithole, Pennsylvania. We want to avoid that. I got started in this process because of my passion for avoiding having the energy wealth come out of the ground, generate wealth for the current generation, leave it to the next generation, and have them go away from our region. They move away for education, for jobs, for love, whatever it might be. They don't give back. Pithole is an example of a boom town in Pennsylvania that came up, thrived, made lots of money, and then all the money went away. And if you watch the video, the story is there's two investors, they sold everything, made millions of dollars back in 1870, and then left the region. There's nothing there anymore. If they had just given 2% of their earnings, millions of dollars back in 1870. So we got a bunch of financial people in the room. If they'd given 2 or 3% of the wealth before they left into an endowment for that region, they wouldn't have noticed the difference in their life. It wouldn't have made a darn bit of difference in how they lived the rest of their life, and their descendants wouldn't have noticed it either. But there would probably be millions or tens of millions of dollars left in that account. It was in an endowment format today. It would have made a huge difference for that region. That's what we want to do. What are the chances? I have been going down and hunting in that region, spending time with my family in that region my whole life. And I've seen all the old oil abandoned rigs from the 18th century and 19th century. I never thought Pennsylvania would get a second bite at that apple. All the companies moved out of Pennsylvania, but now they're back. Up and down in the energy industry, right? So it turns out the Marcellus Shale wells and all the other wells that are horizontal are producing more than anybody expected. That's really good, and it's really bad, because obviously prices are down. But people are still using that energy, and it's still gonna make a difference. So, these are actors. We paid them to participate in our video. We call them Alan and Patty rights owners. So, the theory is they own land. They've never had the opportunity to make philanthropic gifts because they're just good, solid people who put their kids through school and are trying to make their way in life. But then they've got the opportunity to leave a percentage interest of their future oil and gas interest for something that makes a difference in their community. So that if their kids are blessed and they become a surgeon in LA, or they become an engineer in Washington, D.C., working for the Defense Department, some portion of the wealth that's going to come out of that ground doesn't just go to LA, it doesn't just go to Washington and to the charities in those regions, it will stay in their region. Good friend of mine, I like to hunt fish, good friend of mine is going out to a ranch he bought out west, and he has a charitable foundation, and I said, hey, would you make a gift for a philanthropic cause in a year? He said, oh, well, we pledged the next 3 years out in the west where we're now living part-time. But maybe after 3 years, we'll do something back in Pennsylvania. The money was earned in Pennsylvania. It's from the previous generation. It goes where their interest goes. We need to have an irrevocable transfer and gift of that interest so it stays in the region, a small percentage. It's not going to change anybody's life except for the people left in the region where the energy comes out of the ground. So there's a link to the actual video. It actually needs to be updated because I believe the geologists who are in the room today, if they watch it, would tell us probably the assumptions that were made then are a little bit inaccurate and need to be updated. And it's because they're turning out to be better. So all I've been telling you about today, the legacy of the region, we want to make sure that we have the philanthropic giving of energy wealth. The goal of our organization is we want to provide what's necessary for the charitable organizations in our region to reach out to the people that care about those organizations, to leave a philanthropic legacy from the energy for those regions. So whether it's it's the YMCA, an animal shelter, a battered women's clinic, your church, or your alma mater. Leave a legacy. People like the rights holders in that video never believed they could do anything. It's not a cash gift. It's easier to make a gift. It's easier to ask for a gift when it's not a cash gift. We're going to go over today how to accomplish that. Overall, if we had to tell you how we make the sausage when the gift is made, it's going to look really complicated. We're just going to give them the sausage, though, and they'll like it, and it'll taste good. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that, and we've got a group of advisors going to go over that with you. So we're going to be talking about the energy and legacy, and these are all of our sponsors and members. Next, I would like to introduce Bud Chestall. Bud is going to be the moderator for the next section of our program.
Thanks, Tom.